What is going on, Colts Nation? Here's Jamal and I'm Eric, your co-host of the Colts Cast.
Coming at you live.
Coming at you live. Got another mock draft. Colts mock draft 3-rounder for you. You know how it is. The Indianapolis Colts, we got free agency coming up. We got some things happening. I believe we just released Raekwon Davis today as of
What a shame.
What a shame. Cap space just increased, so
I think that was like 6.5 million or something like that. A little bit of money.
Love it.
We'll take it.
You know, Ballard's a spender in most off seasons, so he's about to get it popping.
Yeah,
with that wallet.
Yeah.
But we got a lot of things going on. So we got free agency. We got who's going to be the competition for Anthony Richardson. Once it comes training camp time. But the Indianapolis Colts, regardless, have plenty of opportunities to make this team better in the 2025 NFL draft. And we think we got another perfect mock draft for you. So without further ado, Jamal, what we about to do in the first round?
What we're about to do was first, but starting off, hit that like, subscribe button, drop a comment below. Let us know how you feel about our mock draft, who you would pick, if you agree, if you disagree. Kind of just give us your input. We love reading the comments and interacting with y'all. So make sure you post your thoughts below and maybe introduce us to somebody new who we haven't really thought about in these rounds. So without further ado, though, let's go ahead and hop into it. Starting off with round one, and they go with the man, the myth, the legend himself, Mr. Malaki Starks.
Malachi Starks, safety out of Georgia. Man, what you like about him?
So I first off, his tape says it all. I know a lot of people could sit there and read his or look at his tape, tell you everything you need to know. But I watched the interview with him, and I just really enjoyed just listening to him speak. Not only during that interview, but just to hear him talk about, his game and kind of how he plays and some of his background, which was more exciting to me because everybody saw the film. Everybody knows he can do. But a couple of big things he said. He models his game after Kyle Hamilton and Budda Baker. Eric, we both know how both those players play. Ravens defense has been phenomenal these past couple of years with Kyle Hamilton out there. We've been saying, you even said it a couple of times last year, we need a Kyle Hamilton style player in this building. My man models his game after them. That's one great thing. Said he's down to play whatever position, and he practices at cornerback as well because he doesn't want to be limited to one thing. So he's a versatile player. He's not afraid to get out there and do whatever is needed of him. Another thing I love. A couple other ones. Of course, I like when sports transition or players have different sports transition from one to another. So he's an ex-basketball player, ex-high jumper, and triple long jump. And that high jump and the triple long jump is super important to me because if you watch any of his film, the way he can contest the ball, the way he can contort his body, that all comes from that high jump and that triple long jump, guys. He knows how to elevate from the ground and get in the air. And basically, he's just a wide receiver who happens to be playing in coverage. My man can go up and get any ball that's in the air. But not only that, he can make a tackle and make a play. So there's just a couple offset things that, that you can see on film, but also just a little background of him, just to understand his style of play and why he does what he does. And I think I know he would be a great fit for this Colts team.
Yeah, so Tyler Warren stands in this mock draft. We had him actually getting taken earlier by another team, so he wasn't available. Nick, Warren fans, we also had him getting taken before. So we're left with Malaki Starks, which is a great and amazing. I wouldn't even call it a consolation prize. Like, this is a guy, like, versatile playmaker, elite athleticism. I think he's the complete package. He started as a true freshman, but really, with Lou Anarumo coming into the building, I think he's going to be salivating at his mouth to get one of the top safety prospects in this draft. His scheme is disguise heavy. So we have to confuse the quarterback, and he's going to try to throw a ton of looks at opposing offenses to keep them off balance. At least that's the plan, and I believe Starks fits perfectly into that plan. So Starks, like I said, versatile, can play in a lot of different alignments. We're talking single high, two high zone, nickel. Line him up at a nose tackle. Like, it don't matter. Like, he can do it all, and he's so technically sound. Jamal, you were just talking about it. He led the team in tackles last year as a safety. Like, I mean, some say like that's a bad thing when a safety leads the team, but he was just lining up all over the
All
place,
place, yeah, that's what it came from.
making plays. He's a playmaker. A lot of these tackles came at the first or second level, and like Georgia is not, they've had years where they were amazing defenses, like top one defense, but they always have a good defense. So this isn't like a bad defense where he was just stat padding. Um, so in this situation, we let Julian Blackman walk, bring in Malaki Starks to be that immediate starter. Pair him with Nick Cross, who's developing fairly well, I would say. And this Colts secondary gets a little more respected.
Absolutely, absolutely agreed. All right, rounding into round two. Who you like? Who you like?
Ooh, who do I like? Trey Amos, Ole Miss cornerback. So double dipping into the secondary here.
Mhm.
And it's simple. I love it. Aggressive. So instead of waiting for free agency, we address it now. Keep that secondary young, but also I feel like we just get strong in there. Very aggressive cornerback. Um, he's very physical. He's lengthy. Things that I think Ballard will like. He's a true 6'1", about 200 pounds. A very sticky man defender. So he just suffocates opposing receivers. That man likes to get in your face, and
Mhm.
I his press coverage game is A1. That's a weakness for a lot of corners trying to step into the NFL, but I believe that transition will be easier for him. And like we said, Rumo is going to switch it up. Like we're not just going to play off coverage the entire time, line them up 10-man back, 10 yards back and
Exactly.
play zone. That's not going to happen. Now, sure, Rumo is going to throw some coverage just like that in, but he's not going to do that the entire game. Like the late man, what's his name? Gus Bradley.
Gus. Guster.
But yeah, Amos, 13 pass breakups and 3 interceptions last season. Production is there. Like I said, aggressive. He wants to make a play on the ball, has great coverage instincts, knack of forcing incompletions. Something the Colts, I, I feel like we lacked last season. So this guy seems pretty underrated. I see him in the second round, get Amos on the squad.
Fully agree with everything you said. And full disclaimer with what we talk about, guys, we like to bring you the good, the bad, the ugly, the skinny, whatever it is across the board with these players, because we're picking them for, because they are BPA who we feel will just bring the most success to the team. So while I fully agree with everything Eric said, I also want to bring just a concern that I read about. I've kind of from watching film from him and kind of understanding he's a good tackler, but I have to note that he has missed 12% of his tackles. And I'm not calling that as a huge knock on him. We just want to be full transparent with these guys that this was only a little bit of alarming to me because of what the Colts did last year. We know how bad we were last year. We allowed league high 1,183 yards after missed tackles, and we had 10 or more missed tackles in 11 out of 17 games, guys. Only posted missing tackle rate below 10% once this season. Now, I'm not
Mm,
saying that Amos is going to come in here and add more trouble for us. I just like to point out the fact that this is something that I think we're going to be working on heavy with this defense is our tackling. So getting Simone Amos in the building, who is a good tackler, but could use a little bit of work in this, where I know this is going to be a focal point, that's where we can actually raise the ceiling for him because we're going to elevate him now and teach him how to do that, just take it to another level than what he was doing on a great Ole Miss defense. So just wanted to bring that out because in a positive way, I can see this benefiting him from coming to our squad because I know that Lou Anarumo is going to be focusing on not having a stat like that ever in his backyard again because no one wants that on their plate. So,
yeah. So Anarumo, our defensive back coach, Jerome Henderson, think that should be a focal point when
mhm.
it comes to practice. Like, because tackling a lot of it, I would say, is technique. Like,
Yep.
are you trying to arm tackle all the time? Are you going high? Things like that. So coaching matters, and
Yeah.
especially for the good qualities, we probably don't give them props enough. But yeah, Trey Amos, cornerback out of Ole Miss for the second round. Yes, we double dipped into defense and secondary. A lot of people are going to ask, how is this going to help Anthony Richardson? I would say, good defenses help quarterbacks out a lot. Uh, you know, they when you have a great defense, you kind of don't have to do a lot. You're not asked to do a whole ton. You're not playing from behind the entire game, things like that. Like, so to me, getting your defense stacked up and, maybe a third round pick or later on, we start focusing on offense because Jamal, who's our third round pick?
This is kind of a controversial one too. I've been just kind of snooping through the world of mock drafts and Colts fandom, but we're gonna go with Mr. Harold Fannin Jr., tight end out of Bowling Green.
Don't hear that a lot. Can't
Mm,
recall a single player
can't.
who said Bowling Green in those little intros at the beginning of the game. Why is he a tantalizing prospect or a polarizing prospect from Colts Nation?
Led FBS with 117 receptions, 1,555 yards, and 10 touchdowns last year. That's across the board of all receiving core. So that tight end put up some crazy numbers. Great hands, 2 drops
Competition
over.
though.
Yeah, competition. There was that.
Well, Mid-American Conference, so he did that
Oh,
against
sure. But
he did that against Ball State.
we said the same thing about Quinyon Mitchell, and
I didn't say that.
my man
Y'all said that.
has a ring right now.
Hold on. Y'all
My man
said
has
that.
a ring.
I didn't say that. I just want to point that out.
I agree. I fully agree with that. We said the same thing about Bernard Ryman, who played at Central Michigan, and a couple years later, he's turned it around. I shouldn't say turn around, but he's developed. So I like that you bring that up because these guys, they get the opportunity to develop. We see those guys. Tyreek Hill, I know that's an anomaly too, but he was talking about somebody who started at Drew Cohen, kind of worked his way up through the realms. Some of these guys, they just Chris Ballard loves to dominate in the rough. Here's your opportunity to find one right here. Because this guy only has 2 drops over his entire career. I mean, come on. Now, entire career. Now, I say this too as well because I know a lot of people, if you go look at his stats, you're like, well, he only had one big season, and I've in episodes past on the whole Tyler Warren thing, I've talked about getting hype over one season, so on and so forth. Well, this is a guy I'm talking about in the 3rd round, not our 1st round pick. This is a 3rd round tight end right here who can come in and help elevate us because he's a great route runner and led all tight ends in yards after catch and broken tackles last year for us as well. So he is a guy who can get on the field and play. Now, there are, of course, some things that we have to talk about that could be potential, deal breakers for some Colts fans. But, Eric, I want to let you do your thing first, and I'll bring those up here last.
Yeah, Harold Fannin Jr. We talk about how I know a lot of people say this is a deeper tight end class. So there's an argument to be made. I mean, we even talked about it on the last episode when we talked about Tet McMillan. We said, 1st round tight end might not be the way to go. We can get one in a later round. It's not going to give that much, is it worth the squeeze? Is the juice worth the squeeze? That's how I always look at it. So Fannin Jr., I mean, like you said, Jamal, there's probably some things that turn people off. Like he's not the biggest guy in this tight end class. Like he's not a freak of nature when you look at him from a frame standpoint. But man, you talk about immediate impact for Anthony Richardson's development. I mean, this is the guy. I mean, I watched him. I was watching a little film. They used him in the screen game a lot. Like that was the go-to, like I'm getting this guy the ball in his hands and he's going to do work. And it was good stuff. Crazy production like you already talked about. I mean, averaging 120 yards per game. I don't care what conference you're doing it in. You're that guy on that team for a reason. So I'd like to see that. But yeah, like I was saying, Mid-American Conference, quote, probably not the strongest, conference competition, but he's dominated them nonetheless. And in the 3rd round, you get a guy that has that alignment versatility. We were talking about Warren, talked about Brock Bowers, how he can line up in a lot of different places in the backfield as a running back, in line, outside. It doesn't matter. He can do that too. I think he's a matchup nightmare, not the biggest tight end, but still has that overwhelming strength where he can get past those defenders. Jamal route running ability. Like I think this guy played safety and receiver in high school. So like I think a lot of those skills has transferred. And for a tight end, that's awesome to see. That's awesome to have. He's a yak monster, makes defenders miss. Also a pretty strong blocker, in my opinion. I would say in the run game. That's from what I've seen. Like when he's run blocking, I think he's doing pretty well, and that's really good for our team. That probably is going to be running half of our plays. You know, we got JT back there. We got quarterback designed runs coming in. I know Steichen loves the RPO. So it just this seems like an extraordinarily perfect pick for the Colts in the third round. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if he's there when we pick. Like this guy might be a second round guy, kind of guy. Like he might get taken before, but in this mock, he's of course there in the third round. Jamal, talk about some potential cons.
I think one of the biggest ones I've been, kind of seeing people go on about was just the fact that based off some of his style play, that he could possibly potentially take away some reps from the young Josh Downs himself, because people have said on film, he's lining up in the slot position a little bit more, or he could be utilized in the slot position a little bit more. Now, while I do agree he could be utilized in that slot position a little bit more, I think that he is someone who still could play his tight end role the proper way. He doesn't have to line up in that slot to be effective across the board. He can still go from a 3-point stance on the line of scrimmage and get to the second level, make his way up through the third level. So I understand where people are coming from with that. And again, I think with, again, like you mentioned, that MAC conference he's playing in, where maybe some of the defenses aren't as steady as what we'll see in, the SEC or maybe even at the NFL level. You're going to get opportunity for this guy to learn how to be a proper tight end, because no one's going to be taking any reps from Josh Downs. I can promise you that much. It would take a special person to have to come into this building and take reps from someone like JD. So I'm not losing much sleep on that, but that's probably one of the biggest things I've been seeing people kind of mention about him.
You think Josh Downs is untouchable in that department?
I think Josh Downs is untouchable in that department.
Yeah. I'm looking at his snap alignment. Yeah, he was in the slot about 18-19% of the time. So, I mean, that's not like huge or crazy. But I could see the concern there. I mean, that's just for 2024. So, okay, maybe he lines up in the slot once or twice. That we're talking about the team success. This isn't the Josh Downs success episode. This is the Indianapolis Colts getting better by drafting great players. And I think Harold Fannin Jr., if he's available in the third round, hey, you take the Bowling Green Falcon.
Absolutely.
That's all I'm saying.
Absolutely.
So, look, we hit safety, we hit cornerback, we hit tight end. I mean, we hit every position of need. Maybe not in the order a lot of people wanted, but I think for the value, it's hard to beat right here.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, let us know what you think. Had a lot of thoughts about our last mock draft. So want to see what people think about this one, mock draft 2.0. That's going to be it for us, everyone. Thank you for listening to the Colts Cast. We are live on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or any platform you use to listen to podcasts. And we'll be back next time to give you some more Indianapolis Colts content. Y'all take care.
Take it easy.